Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk to you guys about conspiracy theories and how they can kind of hijack your mind and put you in a state of fear, right? So this video, to make a disclaimer here, is not about the content of any conspiracy theory. I'm not going to go into depth on, UFOs and this coronavirus and chemtrails and all that shit, right? I'm not going to go into it because I really want to get to the core of how your mind works around these things, because that's really what's important when it comes to these different conspiracy theories, right? So everyone probably knows of Alex Jones, David Icke, right? Like these conspiracy theorists, right? Now, when I listen to these folks, from time to time, I don't really watch them actually at all, but just people in general, right, who talk about these conspiracy theories. I remember I used to watch this one guy on YouTube, and this was before I really kind of had an awakening sort of to all this stuff. When I would watch these conspiracy theory videos, I would get into a state of fear, right? So they would talk about how these celebrities and these big corporations are brainwashing us and doing all this and blah blah blah, right? And it would disempower me. It would put me in a state of fear. It would put me in a state of dependence, right? I was always walking around fearful. I was always looking to an authority to protect me, who's gonna save me when all this shit goes loose, right? Because that's what these conspiracy theories at the end of the day, culminate to, conspire to, right? They give the idea that something terrible is gonna happen, right? They give the idea that the world is gonna end. They give the idea that everything's going to shit, right? And not all of them, but certain ones, right? Give that illusion, give that idea, right? And that's just not true from on most occasions, right? And I'm not saying, like I said, this video is not about this conspiracy theories being true or not. It's about how your mind works and how your mind perceives it, right? So keep that in mind as you continue watching. So we have in our mind, we have the ability to either focus on what is important or we can focus on things that are make us fearful, right? So the media and the news, and conspiracy theories work together in the same way. They're not the same, they don't have the same content, but your mind can perceive them in similar ways. So let me explain. So when you watch the news, right, or you hear about these conspiracy theories, you start to get in a state of blame, right? Like if the elites did it, or the pedophiles did it, or Trump did it, or Biden did it, right? You start to see them, oh, these people are evil. It's his fault. It's his fault. It's all their fault. It's that group's fault. It's this race's fault, right? It's the black people. It's this, right? So if you're not conscious enough of your own mind in the moment, if you're not mindful enough, you can easily fall into the trap of blaming a certain group or a certain person for the suffering of mankind, for the income inequality, for the racial inequality, for the coronavirus spread, for all of this stuff, right? But what does that do for you at the end of the day but just put you in a state of fear and victim mentality, right? Because if you're in a fearful state and you're always blaming someone else, you will accomplish nothing. You will get nowhere. And that's the problem with most consumers of media in modern conspiracy theories. Not everyone, but the majority of people who watch these different consume these different ideas and stuff, they fall into the trap of groupthink, where they become fearful and they start to blame the group. And that poses the question now for the individual, okay, So I heard about all these conspiracy theories. I hear the news, I hear this, I hear that. What do I do about it now? That's the question that needs to be asked after you consume anything, after you watch anything. This goes for not just news and conspiracy theories, but anything you watch on YouTube, you hear from someone else in person, anything. What do I do now? Right? And so the second part of what I want to get to here is the shift in your mind, right? So you hear about the conspiracy theories, you know, they could be true, they could be, who knows, right? But what are you going to do to make your life better? Just finding the truth out about these conspiracy theories and, you know, seeing if they're right and you know, telling people about them, does that make their life better? And does that make your life better? Right? Question, you know, really think about that. Are you changing yourself? Are you getting better? Are you feeling better? Are you in a more loving, conscious state, or are you still in that fearful state, right? Because a lot of these people, I feel like, think they're doing something, you know, crazy to change the world by spreading all this information about UFOs, about, you know, race, the income inequality, the big corporations, right? The pharmaceutical industry, the music industry, right? All these like, you know, modern topics that we talk about, right? That are covered on the news and media, on different people's YouTube channels, right? So if you're creating like a channel, for instance, just talking about conspiracy theories, is that really helping the people? Is that empowering them? Is that making them feel better about themselves? Is that making them more loving? Is that inspiring them to go out and create and be creative? Or are you implanting them with fearful thoughts, right? With a fear-based mentality of the world, right? So I'm not saying that conspiracy theories are useless. I think it's good to have a knowledge of you know, the ins and outs of governments and different industries. I think it's good to learn about them, but you have to be mindful when you're watching them to be aware of how your mind can make you fearful. That's the biggest one, because people are easily controlled when they are in a state of fear. It's extremely difficult to be creative and think for yourself when you're in a state of fear. When you're in a state of fear, you depend on others because you're not sure of yourself. You're in a state of uncertainty, right? So, to make a long story short, the whole point of what I'm trying to do, and a lot of other people are trying to do, is put you in a state of happiness, health, love, and higher consciousness. Because if we're you know, consuming all this material, all these, you know, conspiracy theories and different news media sources, we're just gonna get lost, right? Eventually, if you consume enough of that, you're gonna train your brain to think just like the storytellers in the news and on these different YouTube channels, right? And so none of that is bad. It's just the way your mind projects the information outwards, right? So if you listen to a conspiracy theory on coronavirus, let's say, right? Like I watched a documentary the other day called Plandemic, right? And I noticed myself get into a little bit of a fearful state because they talked about how, you know, all these people like Bill Gates and Fauci are devils and this and that, right? And it put me in a state of a little bit of fear, not too much, but I could see how it was shifting my my energy, right? It wasn't putting me in a empowering state, right? So I'm not like I said, I'm not saying don't consume any conspiracy theory material. I'm just saying when you are watching it, just be mindful of how you feel. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that, you know, all these things are actually real, right? Because the real world is the real world. I can watch the news and then I can go outside and it's a beautiful day out, right? So I'm not like I said, I'm not saying these things are not true. They could be true, they could be wrong, right? But, you know, let me ask another question. Whether it's true or not, does that really help you? Like, if Bill Gates is really the devil, or Anthony Fauci is really the devil, if they're really trying to be opportunists and trying to, you know, make a lot of money for this, what does that do for you? You're still the same person, right? You're still the same person at the end of the day, right? So the whole point of spirituality, personal development, is to put you in a state of higher awareness, higher consciousness. It's to make you more mindful, and it's to empower you to be more creative, to be more loving, and to be more conscious. Because if we're not conscious, if we're not healthy, if we're not loving, then this is what we get. We get these people that just continue to share this fearful information, right? So, again, my whole goal here is to put you in a higher frequency, put you in an empowered state, because human beings are supposed to be strong. They're supposed to be intelligent, independent, and think for themselves, right? And so that's my whole goal here. That's what a lot of people's, I know there's so many different people on YouTube and other platforms that are doing the same thing. So, like I said, at the end of the day, go ahead, go learn about these different conspiracy theories. It's good to know how things work, right? It's good to know about this things. It's good. I think it's actually good, right? But just make sure that you're not stuck in a victim mindset where you're blaming people now, because that disempowers you. If you're, guys, all right, if you're blaming people, right, that kind of gives you an excuse to not do anything. And that's the exact state you don't want to be in, right? Because if you're in a state of blame and you're like, oh, I don't need to do anything, it's his fault. Well, your life's going to remain the same, and you're going to be miserable, depressed, anxious, fearful, right? So, empower yourself, learn about these things, just do not be attached to them. Do not be attached to them, and don't take them too seriously, right? Always come back to yourself, always listen to your heart, your intuition, and at the end of the day, it's only you who can focus on yourself and grow yourself. So, that's the message here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, please make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell to get notified when I upload. If you have any questions, comments, literally anything, leave it down below, and I will do my best to get back to you. And as always, I hope you guys have a good one. Peace.